Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a model inspired look on one of my beautiful models, Rihanna. I love this look for models because it just gives the skin a nice glow, it's natural, and just kind of lets their natural beauty shine through. So I'm starting off with the MAC Strobe Cream underneath her foundation just to help prep her skin and give her skin a little bit of like a glowy, dewy look. I'm just using my fingers just to blend it on in. Next, I'm going to go in with foundation, and for foundation, I'm going to use one of my favorites, which is the Urban Decay Naked Skin. I love this foundation because I can kind of control how I want it to look. I can use a little bit like I'm doing here for a more natural look, but I can also build it up in certain areas to get a bit more of a full coverage look, to kind of cover areas that might need a little more help than other areas. So I'm just applying a little bit of product with my fingers, and then I'm going in with a duo fiber brush, and I'm just going to kind of help blend that out even more. Once that's all nice and blended in, then I'm going to go in with a little bit of concealer just to kind of help conceal some areas that might need a bit more coverage. And to do that, I'm going to go in with one of my favorite concealers at the moment, and it's the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This concealer is very full coverage, so I'm going in with just a tiny bit at a time because you can always add more product. So I always like to start off with less, and then I can add it if I need. And then once I kind of have the amount I want, I'm going to go in with my Beauty Blender and just kind of blend it out. So yeah, always start off with less because you can always add more coverage. So next I'm going in with one of my favorite highlighters, and it is the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonlight, I believe. I love this highlighter because it just melts into the skin so nice and kind of gives like a nice glow from within look. Now I'm moving on to the eyes, and for the eyes I'm keeping it very simple. I'm just going to start off with the Smashbox Matte palette. Again, I'll have it linked down below. And I'm just going to use really neutral colors. So I'm starting off with the lightest brown peachy kind of shade, and I'm going to apply it all over the eyes just using a nice big fluffy brush. I like to use a fluffy brush because it kind of helps diffuse the color and just give kind of a nice blown out look. And then I'll start going in with a bit more deeper shades and start to kind of build up the color that I want. So now I'm going to go and take that color on a bit more of a definer brush, and I'm going to start smudging it kind of underneath the lower lash line a little bit, just to kind of help give a little bit of depth to her eyes. I don't want this look to be too dark or dramatic, so I'm just adding a little bit just so her eyes can pop a little bit more in the photos. I'm going to take that same brush and just put a little bit more in her crease just to deepen up the outer corners. I'm just using that darker kind of chocolate brown shade. And then I'm going to go back in one more time with a big fluffy brush just to make sure that everything's super soft and blown out and that there's no harsh lines. Next I'm going back in with those Cover FX drops one more time, and I'm going to apply them on her eyes this time. That's another reason why I just love this product, because it's so versatile. I love using this as an eyeshadow because it kind of gives like a wet appearance, which I find is super flattering in photos. So I went in first just with my finger, and now I'm just taking a flat definer brush, and I'm just going to help blend it out and just kind of make it a little less opaque. Once I have that all nice and blended out, I'm just going to add a little bit more kind of depth to her face. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of a contour shade and just do some simple light contouring. I'm not doing anything too crazy, just because I do want this to look as natural as possible. But since she is getting photos done, it is nice for her face to have like a little bit more shape. So a little bit of contouring will definitely go a long way in the photo. So I'm just applying it with a foundation brush, and then I will go in with my Beauty Blender and really blend it out from there. So once I have it all nice and blended, I'm going to go in and set it just with a little bit of a bronzer, just to add a bit more kind of warmth and dimension to her skin. I went in with the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. It's one of my favorite bronzers, super natural, and just blends in really, really nicely. After I was done bronzing her up, I moved on to her eyebrows, and to do that I used the NYX Micro Brow Pencil. I really like this pencil because it's super tiny and precise, so you can really mimic little hair strokes. Rihanna is blessed with beautiful brows to begin with, so I really didn't have to do a whole lot of work on her. I just kind of filled in some areas that were a little bit sparse. So after I went in and filled them all in, I went and put a brow gel through her brows. I used the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I always like to use some kind of brow gel after I do eyebrows just because I find that it helps the hairs look a bit more natural. I also like that I can kind of brush up the brow hairs to make it look a bit more full. I really like this look for kind of editorial or photo shoot kind of looks. Here I'm just popping on a little bit of lip chap just because it was super dry and I wanted her lips to be nice and moisturized when I went and applied her lip gloss. I'm adding just a little bit of kind of corally blush to her skin just to kind of help complement that bronzer I used and just give her a bit more of like a flushed look. I'm not going in too heavy-handedly, that's why I'm using a big fluffy brush as opposed to like a tinier blush brush. Now I'm going in with one of my favorite products, and I'm using this to kind of highlight certain points of her face, like the inner corner, the bridge of the nose, Cupid's bow, those kind of areas. And this is the Eyeko eyeshadow cream shadow in the color Topaz. I'll have it linked down below. It just gives the skin such a nice, beautiful glow. For this look, I decided to skip the false lashes, which is crazy, I know, usually I love false lashes, but I decided just to add a few coats of mascara to make her eyes pop without looking too fake. Just really wanted her natural beauty to shine through. Next, I'm taking a really flat definer brush, and I'm just taking that dark brown eyeshadow and just pushing it against her lower lash line to kind of act as a bit of an eyeliner. I didn't want anything too dark or harsh. So just adding a little bit of eyeshadow really will make her eyes pop without looking too overly made up. Here I'm just adding a little bit of a pressed highlighter to her high points of her face just to kind of intensify that highlighter even more. I honestly forget what highlighter I used though. Sorry. Then I'm going to go in and just top off her look with the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. I love this gloss. It looks super natural on everyone. It just makes her lips look really nice and healthy and natural, so I just applied that to her lips, which just totally finished off this beautiful glowy look. And last but not least, I just took a little bit of a matte powder and just applied it to certain areas that I wanted to stay a bit more matte and not get shiny throughout her photo shoot. So there you have it. There's her final look. I hope you guys really enjoyed watching this little tutorial on how I get some of my models photo ready. So if you enjoyed this kind of video, please give it a thumbs up and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys!